Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at some TA for various Bitcoin mining stocks. We'll probably look at Mara, Riot, CleanSpark, Cypher, and Wolf. If there are any that you want me to talk about in next week's video, please let me know in the comments below and let me also know what you think about miners in general. So going over to fear and greed, because these are stocks, we do have the stock market getting back up into neutral territory. It was down into fear for a bit. So sometimes the stock market can sort of front run what the crypto market's going to do. So if the stock market is starting to recover and show positive signs, then maybe we can expect that for crypto in the coming weeks or months. As far as crypto fear and greed, still hanging out in the 40 range. And as we zoom out and take a look at the last year, it has definitely been in this downtrend, and it's still in this downtrend of lower lows, lower highs from greed to fear. So is this going to stabilize and then shoot up? Right now, it's looking like it may be forming a base. So you want to see greed take a jump somewhere into the 70s or 80s range to sort of invalidate that and show positive signs in the other direction. On this channel, I also talk about other altcoins. I do technical analysis on other top altcoins available on Coinbase and Robinhood. I talk about the crypto cycle as well as the stock market overall, and I'll try to do a stock market video tomorrow and then hopefully this time a live stream on Friday. So going over to Bitcoin, and what we can see here is that this trend line, this is the double top trend line from 2021. We can see that the weekly is testing that trend line. Now, if the price of Bitcoin got somewhere around this 20-week moving average, which is at around 90,000, give or take, it's still moving up right now. And you can see as it keeps moving up, maybe in another week, it might match some of these prior weekly wick lows. It already matches the lowest wick that happened in January. That it would not be too shocking. So we have some good support here for Bitcoin, and as we look over on the daily, we can see that Bitcoin, it did finally come down to that 100-day moving average. So the double top trend line and the 100-day moving average both in the same area. And as you can see here, Bitcoin is just ranging sideways for now. But if it did break under the 100-day, the double top trend line, and the 20-week moving average, then next we have a big moving average for support. That is the 200-day moving average. So if it got down to there, you can see there's a lot of space to go before possibly going to the 50-week moving average all the way at around 76,000 or so. So that's what I would be looking for in the worst case scenario, some might say. But if it did get there, I'd be looking for a base. I'd be looking for structure to see that maybe that would be a good opportunity to dollar cost average in. As far as what Bitcoin's doing right now, I think now might be a good opportunity as well. Even if it went lower, I do like the technicals it's showing. And as you can see here, this stochastic RSI on the weekly is starting to bottom out. So we do want to see some structure. It can always kind of wash around here for a bit and go a little lower. But if it starts to turn around, that will be a good thing. So let's go over to our first mining stock, and that is Marathon Digital. And as you can see here, for example, the stochastic RSIs, they can still keep going lower, but you can see this thing's very oversold and getting ready to flip positive. And I'm sure many of the other miners will probably show that. So as far as right now, where I see Mara, yes, it broke under this trend line of the higher lows. However, it is on this zero point 0.5 fib. You can see the weekly the candle body, it's just holding on to the 200-week moving average. So right now, the zero point 0.5, it is showing support. If it gets underneath there, then you can see where these other wicks have been in the past, and you might get deals as low as 13 bucks. So if Mara did get under this price, I'd say, continue to look for increasing discounts all the way to the 382 at 11. But right now, I like Mara at this price. And yes, even if Bitcoin did break down to 74, of course, you would see Mara and other minor stocks and altcoins go down more, true. But I don't mind buying here, and in worst case scenario, buying at 11 as well. I don't mind doing that. But right now, I don't hate this value for dollar cost averaging. Let's next go over to Riot. And that's the other thing. We never know when these things are just going to turn around. So, we can see positive movement next week. We might not see it for a month and a half. It's hard to say. But if you get yourself a handful of these bottoms, by the time these start to rip up, you don't mind that you bought it here and here and here. You're just trying to catch close to those areas, those bottoms, and when they start to reverse. So Riot, similar story. It's holding on to the 382. You can see over the last few weeks, it has tried to get above the 200-week moving average. These moving averages are inverted. We have the 200, 100, the 50 right on the 382. It's not quite having the strength to get through the 200. So you want to see Riot hold this area at around 11. But this $11 range, I'm willing to dollar cost average in there. And if it does break down, we have this structure back here. You can look for further discounts, $9 to $10, and worst case scenario, all the way $6 to $7. So if we go over to the daily, you can see the daily looks a little bit better right now. It isn't quite closing above the 50 though, so I would not be shocked to see Riot come down to the lower $11 range and possibly get some more back in here. Next, let's go over to CleanSpark. And CleanSpark, similar deal. Not as much with the fibs. You see it's underneath the daily moving averages, but it is holding on to this higher low trend line. Now remember what happened with Mara. Mara broke under that. And so CleanSpark does have these higher lows. Again, I think all these, if you like any of these mining stocks, I don't hate any of these levels for a little DCA. I'm not saying back up the truck and unload everything. Of course, budget yourself. But if it did break down further, then we have the 0.5 here at around 860. So you can set a buy order for that if you think that this structure is looking like it could break down. We do have these higher lows, but we also do have more recently these macro lower highs. So would not be shocked to see CleanSpark get down to this area, but I don't hate this level overall for CleanSpark. As we go to the weekly, you can see here another red weekly candle. It's been chopping around for a bit, and that sell signal, it did start last week, even on that green thin doji. So right now, no signs of reversal yet for CleanSpark. Next, we will go to Cypher and then finish off with Wolf. So with Cypher mining, this one overall is looking more positive compared to the rest. So it's had a weekly buy signal for the last 3 weeks, and it looks like it's getting ready to challenge that 786 at around 690. So Cypher overall looking very positive. You can just take a look at this chart right here and show that it is definitely in some sort of channel here. It's probably not going to be the prettiest channel, but let's chart it out anyways. Let's see if we can get something going. So a little bit of, yeah, I think that lines up. These bottoms, there is a little bit of wicks underneath there, and we have the wicks to there. So not the most perfectly drawn channel, but it's in a channel nonetheless. And funny enough, it's just kind of riding that median value within the channel. And if we go over to the daily, you can see here staying above its moving averages quite nicely. So if this move does weaken out, you could possibly look for support at that 50-day moving average and catch yourself a little bit more of a bargain in the 560 range. And then lastly, we will finish off with Wolf and see how Wolf is doing. So Wolf hanging on to that 0.5 fib by a thread. And by the way, my fibs here, I do have them drawn from the most prior macro high to low, just in case you're all wondering, and the prices are between there. So That's why we look at these fibs, but it is underneath a lot of resistance. So the moving averages, this trend line at loss, something to consider. I think was that Clean Spark that was hanging on its trend line pretty good. Once it starts to break down, that can be pretty bad. So overall, we do have these higher lows, but if it's not able to take this point 0.5, I'd be worried about Wolf possibly falling a lot further down to where these peaks have been in the past, this 382. So overall for Wolf, this is concerning, um, but it is at overall a lower value than it's been in the past. And you can take a look at it as far as if you're looking the DCA, no matter what, you might say, hey, it's close to 50% off. I'm fine with this. It's on the 50 week, the point 0.5, and you can see on the weekly. The weekly shows this is a little better than the daily. That the point 0.5 is holding support, and even though on the daily it looked worse, these wicks are showing that there are strong buyers at the 100-week moving average, and the 50-week moving average plus the point 0.5 is holding support. So, another good area for DCA opportunities for anyone who likes Wolf out there. But if it loses that point 0.5, you definitely need to see that 100-week hold at around 436. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I hope all of you have a fantastic Wednesday. Take care.